Hey guys, Zechs from the TF Gun Club back again with another video about my Smith & Wesson M&P 15 Sport. And what I wanted to do today was kind of give you guys a follow-up video now that I've had a chance to take this gun to the range and shoot it. And my first video, I just kind of gave you my first impressions out of the box, cleaning it up, and give you a little insight about the gun. This video is actually having some experience at the range now, and it's kind of coming from a point of view of somebody new to the shooting sport. I'm really a customer and not a professional. I'm not a ex-military. I'm not a three-gun shooter. I'm not a professional shooter. I'm an amateur shooter. I'm just a guy that is kind of a gun nerd and is just getting into shooting for real. And obviously this is my first gun, and so I'm still learning how to use the gun. I'm not here as a gun reviewer because that is not my strength. I'm still trying to learn to use the gun, and so that's kind of going to be my perspective on things. But I had a trip to the range. Was able to get 120 rounds through the gun with zero flaws, zero jams, zero issues, just flawlessly shot them all through. Focus of the trip was mainly to get it sighted in, because right now still just running the iron sights on it, and I wanted to get them sighted in so that this thing would be a viable defense option if I needed it, and for the recreation of shooting. So with that said, I put 100 rounds of Remington UMC FMJ brass through it, and like I said, it was flawlessly. Now the UMC brass was a little dirty, so it was a nice fun cleanup job, but I don't think that that's anything that you can avoid with these guns. Some of my impressions now after taking this gun to the range and getting rounds through it. One of my concerns was the handguard that did not have a heat shield. And I don't know if it's because it's got such a heavy barrel underneath that it didn't heat up as fast or what, but the heat from the handguard was very manageable. And I will say the barrel did get very hot because I accidentally touched it when I was putting the gun away, and wow, it was hot. But the handguard did a really good job of keeping our hands away from the heat. And when I say our hands, I went shooting with a friend of mine. He's one of my shooting buddies that I usually go shooting with. And I'll show you our target now. I'm not a fancy marksman or rifle reviewer, so I'm not doing 3-shot groups and then getting a brand new target. I'm going to show you probably 40 rounds on some small targets, so just to kind of give you an idea of what the gun was able to do with some pretty amateur shooting going on at 25 yards. But one thing I did want to mention was that the handguard actually performed a lot better than I was expecting it to. I was ready to have to wear a glove on my left hand for the heat, but really it didn't come down to that. The handguard did a really good job. One of the other things that I wanted to say was my initial fit and finish review of this gun, I thought it was really good, but now I am noticing a little bit of slop in the upper receiver, lower receiver fitment, and so I probably will grab an AccuEdge at some point and throw that in there and see if I like that better. And maybe it's a completely okay amount of slop, it's within tolerances, but I'm just going to throw an AccuEdge in there anyways just to make sure. What were some of my other takeaways before I get to the target here so you guys can see some different kind of data? But I think that's it. Overall, the gun performed really well. I was really impressed with it. I don't think that any of the budget parts on it really held it back at all. I think it did a great job. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and roll in my target, and then I'll show you my friends' groups after that and give you an idea of what, well, this actually doesn't give you an idea of what the gun is capable of, because quite frankly neither of us are that great of shooters, and I was still learning how to use the ghost ring iron sights. So by the end of the day my groups were actually getting really good, but he definitely had some better groupings than me. So I'm going to go ahead and roll this in. And these are my groups here. Let me see if we can get some focus on this. Nah, that doesn't look good either. Anyways, okay. So these were kind of my groups. Towards one of the things I found out after working on getting the gun sighted in was at 25 yards, even my eyes aren't good enough to pick out the bullseye very well through the iron sights, so I ended up having to put some blue tape on here to give myself something easier to shoot at. And so you can see some of my groupings here. They're pretty good. Most of these weren't stringing like up here and then down there. It was pretty much, most of them were pretty close like this. But at 25 yards, you really do want to expect that you have that close of groups. So what I'm going to do now is show you my friends' targets who, what I was doing is I was shooting and then I was resighting and then shooting, resighting and shooting. He was sighting and then putting 4 bullets through and then sighting again. So you can see, using his method, he was basically creating holes that were touching. And you've got, you know, 1, 2, 3, you've got a set of 5 bullets here in that small section, you know, a couple of strings of 3, a big one there. I think that's actually 2 groups of 5 that just kind of ended up around there. So he really did demonstrate a lot more of what the gun is capable of. This is at 25 yards, so, you know, if you bump that out to 100 yards, I mean, his groups make it look like it is a 1 MOA gun, and that is with $8 for 20 rounds of ammo quality. My groups make it look more like a 2 or 3 MOA gun, so that's probably just my shooting skill right there. Actually, it's not probably, it is my shooting skill right there. That, you know, I'm probably just, you know, I hope I'm at least a 3 MOA shooter at 100 yards. We'll see once I get some glass on this thing if I can do better than that. But yeah, so this is what the gun was able to do on its first outing, or what we were able to do with the gun on its first outing, and give you guys just a little bit more information about the Smith & Wesson M&P Sport, what I'm thinking about it so far, how things are going. Like I said, performed flawlessly, 0 issues. It really has impressed me for something that doesn't have the mil-spec stuff, but then again, I haven't really thrown in an environment that would show the weaknesses of missing a dust cover or forward assist. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, you got something either educational out of it, or you got a good laugh looking at my targets. And as get some more information on this gun, do some more stuff with it, I will let you guys know.